When you type a prompt into ChatGPT or Claude, the experience feels incredibly natural. The words flow back and forth across the screen, mimicking the exact rhythm of texting a friend or messaging a coworker. But that conversational flow is a carefully engineered illusion. The machine on the other end is not reading your words, and it certainly isn't processing language the way a human brain does. Behind every interaction is a running meter tallying up the transaction. It tracks a highly specific unit of measurement called a token. Because this meter governs every single prompt, document upload, and generated response, a user who ignores it has zero actual control over the financial cost or the final quality of their AI outputs. To gain that control, you have to know what a token actually is. Think of it as a structural chunk of text. It might be a single character, or it might be a full word, but it is the fundamental unit of meaning that the AI's architecture can actually process. It helps to look at how we read a recipe. When you scan the card, you don't read the individual letters in baking soda or 2 cups. Your brain naturally groups those familiar sequences into recognizable chunks. AI models do something structurally similar. The process of breaking your prompt into these chunks is called tokenization. Common, everyday words pass through as single tokens, but rare, highly technical, or unusually spelled words get fractured into multiple smaller pieces. Instructive. As a working mathematical rule of thumb, 1 token equals roughly 3 to 4 characters. That means 100 tokens will buy you about 75 words, and a standard word is roughly 3/4 of a token. Tokens are the absolute atomic building blocks of the entire system. Once you learn to manipulate them, you dictate exactly how the machine behaves. The token economy operates on a strict ledger divided into 2 distinct streams: input tokens, which cover everything the model reads, and output tokens, which cover everything the model generates. The input side includes the prompt you type, any documents you paste in, and the hidden system instructions the software loads in the background before you even say hello. This chart compares the token pricing across major AI providers, and it highlights a massive asymmetry in the system. The output bars tower over the input bars. Generating brand new text requires significantly more computational power than passively reading it. Because of that computational heavy lifting, output tokens are priced at a steep premium. Across the industry, writing a token costs 2 to 4 times as much as reading one. This directly impacts how you work. If you write a loose, poorly structured prompt, the AI will likely generate a rambling, verbose response as it tries to guess what you want. You are paying a premium rate for all of that unnecessary text. Conversely, if you write a tightly structured prompt that forces the AI to answer concisely, say asking for exactly 3 bullet points, you drastically reduce the number of output tokens it generates. The text you put into the prompt box acts as a direct multiplier for your final bill. Beyond the financial cost, tokens establish the absolute limit of the machine's cognitive capacity. Every AI has a context window. Think of it as the model's short-term working memory, a finite meeting room whiteboard where all your current instructions, documents, and conversation history have to fit. When you engage in a long, meandering back-and-forth chat or dump massive, unedited PDFs into the prompt, you rapidly cover every inch of that whiteboard with tokens. Once the context window hits its absolute physical limit, a bottleneck occurs. The oldest parts of your conversation are pushed off the edge of the board. They become entirely invisible to the AI. The immediate result is a sharp drop in reliability. The model forgets the constraints you established in your first message, loses track of key facts, and starts hallucinating. Aggressively pruning the context window is the only reliable way to keep a model on track and prevent it from losing the plot. We naturally assume that giving an AI more words, longer preambles, and extra background details gives it more context to formulate a smarter answer. The reality is exactly the opposite. Padding your prompt with unnecessary text diffuses the AI's internal attention mechanism. It forces the model to burn processing power hunting for the core signal buried inside a mountain of noise. The alternative is a practice called token discipline. This is the deliberate, ruthless structuring of your prompts to feed the machine exactly the context it needs to execute the task, and absolutely nothing more. Adopting this practice solves both problems at once. By stripping out the noise, you slash the financial cost of the transaction while simultaneously forcing the model to produce a highly precise, superior output. The stakes are incredibly high when we scale this up to agentic AI. In multi-step automated workflows, an AI triggers another AI. If the first output is bloated, that waste multiplies through every subsequent step, burning thousands of tokens in seconds. To get the most out of these systems, you have to transition from a passive consumer to an intentional operator. Every prompt is a calculated package of data. Now that you can see the invisible meter, you can control it. In the rest of this series, we will unpack the exact prompting frameworks required to build token discipline into your daily workflow.